Hello and welcome to the Make More Placements podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about why recruitment consultants fail and most importantly, how to fix it. So again, with me and Terry here, some of the recruitment or a lot of the recruitment consultants we speak to, one of the biggest challenges that you have right now is actually bringing consultants into your team, into your business, and then working out. And I think I read a few weeks ago, and Sarah, I think you echoed this with the recruiters that you speak to. 2 in 3 recruitment consultants that you bring in actually fail and don't work out. And if you look at your time in business, you look at even your time as an employee at a desk, the amount of consultants you would have seen come in and not work out, you're probably one of the more successful ones. Again, those numbers probably ring true. But Terry, I want to talk, before we get into the sort of the ins and outs and the fixes, I want to talk about, I guess, why this happens and what it can look like from the owner's point of view.
Yeah. I think the first thing we ought to consider is the irony of this. Our recruitment business is having trouble recruiting consultants. This is what recruiters do for a living for other people. But when it comes to building their own team, they have a real challenge, because those figures that you quoted, Drew, most consultants that join a firm don't work out. So that's the first thing. I think also as well that a lot of recruitment business owners bring consultants in for the wrong reason. So they bring them in. One of the saddest ones, I think, is what I call the vanity metrics, where there's this thinking, the more consultants I've got, the more successful I'm perceived to be by my peers and family. So recently I was talking to a recruitment business. They've got 6 consultants, and they're doing 2 million. I spoke to one 3 or 4 months ago. He's got 10 consultants in the insurance sector, but he's only doing just over 1 million. In fact, he's barely profitable. But one of the first things he said to me, he said, look, we're doing really well, Terry. We've got 10 in the team now. We're looking to recruit more. I asked him the question, why, before I got all the numbers, why he was looking to recruit more. I said, Terry, we're swamped with business at the moment. We're not filling all the job orders. So that's the other problem. Contingent recruiters believe if they get more consultants in the business, they'll fill more of the job orders. By the way, we have no evidence to support that whatsoever. So it's another myth that's going around about the more consultants you've got, the more job orders. Because whether you've got 10 consultants or you've got 2 consultants, on average and contingent, you're going to fill between 20 to 50% of the roles that you work on, regardless of the numbers. Does that make sense, Drew?
Yeah, it does make sense. I just want to sort of pick up on something you said there. I think it's important. I don't want to brush over it. Is that a lot of recruitment business owners have this idea of success having a big team, and they sort of prioritize that over revenue, even over profit. I guess just to go a bit deeper into that, why do you think it happens?
Honestly, I think part of it's naivety, Drew. If you're at the dinner party at the golf club or, at the bar with your mates, you say, yeah, my team of 10, my team of 20. The perception is, oh, they must be doing well. People like you and I, when we hear that number, we kind of take it with a pinch of salt, because the number that really matters is the revenue, So you can have a team of 200. But if you're only doing, 5 million a year, you're probably making a loss.
Yeah. It's in fact not even the revenue, is it? It's a profit. It's a profit.
Yeah, good point, actually. Yeah. And we know roughly what the profit's going to be, should be on the consultant. Yeah. It's a good point.
Cool. So I want to sort of dig into the reasons, I guess, why consultants don't work out. And the first reason we got down here is that they hired a consultant to solve a growth problem rather than a capacity problem. Meaning that, again, like you said, Terry, look, you're going to have a recruitment business owner, they want to grow, and their first thought is, if I bring more people in, I can win more clients, I can fill more of the roles I've got on my desk. Again, we have a sort of different view. We believe that you should bring someone in to solve a capacity problem, meaning that once everything's optimized in the business, once you've got more business you can handle and get more exclusive or retained business you can handle, then you might need to bring consultants in. But I guess from your point of view, Terry, from that, we've got problem number 1. They hired to solve a growth problem rather than a capacity problem. I guess how would you describe that, and how do we get around it?
Yeah, good one. So look, the average contingent is 20 to 50% of the roles they work on, they're going to fill. So let's say the top end, and very rarely do you get a contingent recruiter at 50%, those that measure it, because most of them don't even measure it, but that's another story. If they were just to say, let's work on the job orders that we get now, and rather than bringing in another consultant, let's strive at getting our fill rate to 80%. Financially, that would transform most of the most recruitment businesses with no additional cost. Now, they will argue, yeah, but the problem is a candidate shortage. And again, it's another one of those myths. If the role never gets filled by anybody, then it is a candidate shortage. If, on the other hand, there's 4 recruiters working on the same role, but one recruiter fills the role, what's the shortage of candidates? It's just that the 3 or 4 of you are working on the same role. And you would be better served working with clients either on an exclusive or retained basis where you're not competing with the recruiters. So if you to improve your process in the type of business that you took on, even on the contingent roles, if you to get your consultants to qualify them better. But here's what happens, Drew. Especially for a rookie consultant or a consultant not doing too well. They get a job opportunity, hand on heart, they know they probably won't fill it. But they take it, knowing hand on heart they're not going to fill it. But in their mind, if I've got, let's say, 3 or 4 crappy jobs, and my manager's standing over me saying, why aren't you bringing business in? I'm going to look at the manager and say to her, I'm busy filling these roles. This is where the money is. Because it makes it easier for that consultant to be say, I'm busy working on this role, even though hand on heart, they know that they're not going to fill them. It convinces the manager or the director of the business because they say, well, yeah, that consultant's working on 4 jobs. But they probably won't qualify. Because if a hiring manager says something like, yeah, well, if you know anybody, send them over. And they go, yeah, I'll do that. Put the phone down and high-five their colleague for getting a job order. It was kind of pointless getting it. So it's the process that they need to look at rather than let's throw another body at this and all of that.
Yeah.
All the expense that you're going to incur there.
Yeah, and I think just what you said there in terms of like the recruitment consultant telling the director or telling the manager that, I think actually if we look deeper, honestly, like I think a lot of owners tell themselves that the same thing. That's why, I can't work on business development. I can't do this because I've got these roles to fill. And sometimes it's valid. And sometimes the roles are, I guess, high quality roles that will get filled. But sometimes it's just almost avoiding doing what they need to do. Would you go like that, though?
100%. It's just a distraction because they know in their heart of hearts they're probably not going to fit it. But look at it from their point of view. They're thinking, yeah, and this is what I get. But Tara, I might get lucky because I've got 4 job orders here and I might just get lucky and get one of these and get a fee of 10, 15, 20,000. And quite honest, that's going to save my day. So you can understand their thinking, but you have to acknowledge it's flawed thinking. If they just went, well, actually, would it not be better with one role on the retained basis where I get some of the money up front and the fill rate on a retained basis is 90% rather than taking 4 roles with no exclusivity, other recruiters working on it, and I probably won't fill it. But the retained road is the more complex, the more difficult one.
100%. So Terry, let's move on to reason number 2, right? So the reason number 1 is more about, I guess, hiring to solve a capacity problem rather than the growth problem. Number 2 is more about, let's say that's sold, right? So, I've optimized my business. I've got all the things in place that I need to bring someone in. And now I'm in the interview process. I'm interviewing consultants. I'm looking at CVs. I guess, where does it go wrong there? Because I guess, it's not always about timing. It's about, let's say I've got the right timing, but I'm just looking at the wrong CVs or looking for the wrong thing on CVs, let's say. Tell me a bit what that could look like.
Where I look at it is when I was a search firm owner, I never, ever met an unsuccessful search or recruitment consultant. Everyone I met was highly successful and they implied that I was lucky to be talking to them.
Yeah.
Because what we do is, this is human nature. When a consultant does well, they take all the credit for it. Yeah, well, the reason I've done so well, I've worked hard at this and I'm a really good consultant. However, when things are crap, and we've all been there, then it's not them, it's the economic climate, it's the market they're in, it's everything but them. And I know that's human nature. But here's what's happening. The recruitment business owner is interviewing a consultant, and the consultant says, and by the way, if you're a reasonable consultant, you're also a good communicator. So they can communicate well. And they go, yeah, over the last 3 years, I've averaged 300,000 a year, for the last 3 years. The recruitment business owner going, fantastic. Well, look, if this guy only does 200,000 for us, yeah, that would be fantastic. And they get carried away with the fantasy that consultants told them the truth. One of the things they should be doing is challenging those numbers. One of the things they should be doing is looking at P45 to see what they actually earned. Because it would give you some indication. But they take, low recruitment business owners take things on face value. Yeah, I did 1 million last year, and you're lucky to be talking to me because I'll probably do about 2 million this year. And he only gets excited at the prospect of something that's never going to happen.
100%. And I think even to go deeper into that, even if you look at the pay slips or whatever, you can be a consultant that does well, like build well, and it not be, again, I don't want to take away from the consultant to say that they're not contributing to anything, but it could just be that you've got one in that previous business, got one good client that gave you lots of roles that were easy to fill, or that were exclusive terms. So you filled it, and you can't bring that client with you to the new company anyway. So it's almost,
that's right.
It almost becomes irrelevant. Like, you were success. Yes, you were successful. Yes, I don't want to take anything away from that success, but can it be transferred to another business for that client? No.
Yeah, and I give a great example. And Drew, I was guilty of that as a search consultant. 1 year I did just over 300,000. It was with one client.
Yeah.
One client and one client only. And we worked on retainer for the whole year. It was fantastic.
So you've got in situations like that, there's no, I guess, from the consultant point of view, there's no, I guess, proof that they can win new clients. They can't bring that old client across anyway. And even if they were able to bring that old client across, there's no guarantee that client's going to hire as much the following year. So it's almost success built on elements that you can't control, but it built on elements that the recruitment consultant can't control. So I guess, I don't know if you know the answer to this, Joe, but how, if I'm a business owner and I'm interviewing and I'm seeing this and I'm thinking that could be a concern of mine, right? How do I know that this recruiter's build, but how do I know how that bidding was split? Was it with one client? Was it multiple clients? Were they the one that brought the client in, or were they just the one filling the roles? Get all these details that actually make a difference to how good the person might be, or how suited the person might be to my firm. How do I spot for that in an interview process?
I don't know if you can. And I think we're looking at all the recruitment business owners looking at the wrong thing. I want to bring a consultant in that's done 300,000 at their previous firm. Hindsight, I'm going to go, why are they leaving? If they're so good, why are they leaving? By the way, here's the thing I have to consider. When the consultants have got made redundant, Drew, you and I have been around long enough to know that even when recruitment firms are struggling, if a good consultant's billing, you don't make them redundant. Good consultants just don't get made redundant. Yeah. There's no logic to that, is there? Oh, you're billing 300,000. We're going to have to get rid of you. Are you kidding me? It's not going to happen. So I think it's actually looking at the wrong thing. So rather than looking at, I need to bring in a high-performing consultant, it may be worth looking at your own business and saying, look, to bring in a top-performing consultant, who's also, the other one people always ask for is who's entrepreneurial. Because if they're top-performing and entrepreneurial, why would they join you? Why not then go off on their own and do their own thing? Yeah. Wouldn't it be better to have a process in your business where you say, I don't need to bring in a top billing consultant. I need to have a process in my business that when a consultant, this is what our clients are doing. Come and join us. You'll never, ever have to cold call. But we'll show you how to generate leads and get meetings. And, if you use some of the Apex services that we provide, you can say to a consultant, you'll get 20 meetings a month, 1 meeting a day, every day with a hiring manager that's in the market for what you do.
Yeah.
Now you've got a process. And by the way, it's now easier to recruit consultants, if you can say that and guarantee that. That's what you should be looking at, rather than let me find that top billing consultant.
100%. And that brings us on to reason number 3, is that a lot of recruitment business owners hire for talent and not hire for a system, right? So again, Terry, what you touched on it there, like to increase the chances of a recruitment consultant having success in any business, there needs to be a system for them to follow. And I think sometimes a lot of owners can have, the owner can be successful within themselves, but it's all up here. What they do, the process they follow, how they win clients, how they deliver candidates, whatever it is, it's all in the mind. And they bring in another consultant and sort of leave it down to them. It's almost like a sink or swim. And and almost wrongly, maybe the bigger the firm, the more, I guess, susceptible they are to this, where they'll overhire. They'll know these numbers that we're talking about. Oh, 2 and 3 are going to fail. Therefore, I'm going to bring in 3, or I'm going to bring in 10, knowing that most are going to fail. And I'm going to be left with the gems. Which again, I'm not saying doesn't work. Obviously, you can speak to a lot of successful business owners where that has worked. It's just very high risk, very high staff turnover. The way to get around that is to build a system and to hire people based on their ability to follow a system rather than based on their past success. Terry, what are your thoughts on that, and how would you?
Oh yeah, 100%. And you made a good point there, because you and I both know businesses who do that. Yeah, well, Terry, what we do is we bring 6 in at a time, and we know that 4, maybe even 5 won't work out. But we're spending our time with 6 consultants at the same time rather than trying to coach 6 at 6 different times. So it's the same amount of time for us. I think the thing that they don't, or maybe they must consider, I don't know, I haven't challenged them enough on this, is that's quite a cost, bringing in 6 consultants, and they give them, 3-4 months.
Yeah.
If they're not either bidding or showing signs by then, they get rid. But their argument is, we'll work in the numbers, Terry. Well, we know the numbers. We know if we bring in 6, we're going to get 1 or 2 each time. And that's what we're striving for. It seems a really expensive way of doing it. And in fairness, a lot of them have got training or whatever, and they're providing that. But again, it always makes me smile that the amount of small recruitment business owners who then complain about the performance of their consultants. I mean, I say, well, what sort of training do you do them? Well, I don't do any training. Well, are you not going to take any responsibility for this? You brought this consultant in, they're not delivering. Is it possible they could perform better with a bit more support? Well, no, I expect my consultants to come in and hit the ground running.
Well, I think that's part of the problem, Terry. Like, again, training is one thing, because I think it's probably more common that they train them on the recruitment process itself, like the delivery.
Yeah.
That if you're expecting someone to come in, the B360 and actually bring in clients, a lot of the time these owners don't have a system for bringing in clients themselves, right? They don't know how to get clients, or don't know how to get clients consistently. So they bring someone in hoping that, okay, whatever that person does bring clients, they can bring into my business, and we can both do what we do. But again, neither of them really have systems. In fact, I'll go as far as to say the recruitment industry as a whole, the attracting quality clients, this is probably a weak area, right? So they have
100%.
systems for bringing in clients and very, very little systems for delivery, right? Delivery is probably the bit where they have got solved, right? But if you can't win the clients in the first place, or you can't win clients on the right terms, and what I'm talking about exclusivity here, ideally retained, then again, it's an uphill battle from day one. Again, I remember reading, you may read it when I was probably about 21, the E-Myth book by Michael E. Gerber.
Oh, yeah.
One of the quotes in that book, I was really looking at the other day, is like, let systems run the business and let people run the systems. So let systems run the business and let people run the systems. And I think so many recruitment business owners we speak to do not have the systems in place, or any systems they do have are up here, and it's not a transferable skill to give to another consultant coming in. So does that make sense?
100%. And when you ask the owner, well, so how do you go about business? Oh, Terry, don't understand. I've been in this business for years. I've got a great network, and I can just make a few calls, and that's great for you. But it's not a process. It's not a system.
Yeah.
And if you're bringing a consultancy, you've got to have a system that you can share with your consultants. Say, if you do this, example, if you use the Apex client attraction process, you should average about 20 meetings a month, every month, with interested hiring managers. And you want to stack the numbers in your favor. So 20, 30 meetings a month, you should be able to win 2 retainers a month, every month, by doing that. But most owners kind of, fingers crossed, all being well. So it creates that uncertainty in the business, because they just don't know when the next piece of business is coming from and how they're going to get it.
100%. And Terry, just talking about the Apex system, we've got a short, it's a 10-minute video that runs through this whole Apex system, how to bring clients in, how to deliver, how to retain clients. You should go to makemoreplacements.com/VSL. That's VSL. Makemoreplacements.com/VSL. There's a short video there that will run through the whole system. Terry, that's it for me today. Anything you want to add? Any last words?
Yeah, look, just go to Make More Placements and have a look at that. There's no cost, there's no obligation. If you're having trouble right now, either building a team or getting clients, just get this free training and see what some of your competitors are doing right now when it comes to winning new clients and growing their business. But that's it for me, Drew. Thanks for the invite, and look forward to next time.
Awesome. We'll speak to you soon. Until then, take care, take action, and be relentless.
Cheers, folks.